blood supply of the brain. So first we are going to see the lateral ventricle. When you see this diagram, it's a kind of schematic diagram. Here you can make out this is C-shaped lateral ventricle, this hole. So lateral ventricle is among the largest ventricle of the brain. It is the cavity of our brain. It lies within the cerebral hemisphere. It has got the central part, then extension in the frontal lobe, we call it anterior horn. One extension in occipital lobe, we call it posterior horn, and one extension of the cavity in the temporal lobe, that is inferior horn. So these are the extension of lateral ventricle. The lateral ventricle wraps around thalamus, lentiform nucleus, and caudate nucleus. All the ventricle inside they are lined by ependyma. Ependyma is a kind of layer, and that is formed by the neuroglial cell, ependymal cell, and it form the lateral ventricle and store the CSF. The capacity of each lateral ventricle is about 7 to 10 ml. Now, when you see, this is a specimen of the brain. So when you see the brain, this is the medial surface of the brain, and this cavity, what you can make out, this is the original picture of the brain, what we have in our anatomy lab, that original picture is there. So this is the lateral ventricle. If you see, this is the lateral ventricle. My arrow is moving on the central part. Then this extension is the anterior horn. This extension is the posterior horn, and lateral horn is on opposite side. Now, if you can make out this one, this is septum pellucidum. It forms the medial boundary or medial wall of lateral ventricle. This is the roof, corpus callosum, what we have studied. So both the lateral ventricle, they are separated from each other by septum pellucidum. Septum pellucidum is a thin sheet of white matter that is attached above to the under surface of corpus callosum and below to the fornix, which are the bundle of fiber. So this is septum pellucidum that separates the two lateral ventricle. Now the lateral ventricle, if you see, it communicates with the third ventricle here through interventricular foramen or foramen of Monro, this one. This is the interventricular foramen or foramen of Monro. So whatever the CSF is produced and stored in the lateral ventricle, that enter to the third ventricle through foramen of Monro or interventricular foramen. Now you see, this is where the seeker, you can make out this seeker. This seeker is there in interventricular foramen. So through this, the lateral ventricle CSF enter into the third ventricle. This is the third ventricle. So it communicates with the third ventricle through foramen of Monro, and they contain the lateral ventricle. It contains choroid plexus. The formation of CSF is because of choroid plexus. Choroid plexus are the tuft of capillaries, the bunch of capillaries, and along with the ependyma. So through the blood of the capillaries, the CSF is produced. Now you see here, it's a diagram for examination point of view. This whole is lateral ventricle. What do you see? It is lateral ventricle. So it has the central part, anterior horn, posterior horn, and inferior horn. This is the communication with third ventricle through foramen of Monro. Now, if you see the anterior part, this is the extension into your frontal lobe. Posteriorly, you have extension into occipital lobe, posterior horn, and inferiorly extension into temporal lobe, that is the inferior horn. Now, first we are going to see the body, the central part. This is the central part. When you see the central part or this your lateral ventricle, this extend here from interventricular foramen to the splenium. From interventricular foramen to the splenium of corpus callosum, this is the central part. This central part, if you cut a coronal section, it is a triangular, somewhat triangular. So it has medial wall, it has a roof and floor. Once again, if you go with this diagram, see, this is the roof of central part. This is roof is formed by the corpus callosum. This is the corpus callosum. Floor contains thalamus. This is thalamus medially and caudate nucleus, body of caudate nucleus laterally. And medial wall is formed by septum pellucidum. This is the part of septum pellucidum. So these are the boundaries of central part of lateral ventricle. So roof, floor, and medial wall. Once again, in this section, if you see, this is the lateral ventricle, the central part. Roof is formed by corpus callosum. In the floor, you have thalamus, caudate nucleus, thalamostriate vein, and stria terminalis. Four structure are there: thalamus, thalamocyte vein, stria terminalis, and caudate nucleus. So they form the floor. The medial wall, this one is the medial wall, is formed by septum pellucidum. So this is the lateral ventricle. These two are the central part of lateral ventricle. Now anterior horn, if you see the anterior horn, the part of lateral ventricle in front of foramen of Monro or interventricular foramen here. Here we call it anterior horn. Horn means projection. So this is the projection. So anterior horn, it extends from foramen of Monro to the genu. This is the genu. Genu is the band of corpus callosum. Now this has got the roof of anterior horn. This is the floor, medial wall. Roof, floor, anterior wall and medial wall. Medial wall is formed by septum pellucidum. Roof and anterior wall is formed by the genu of corpus callosum. Genu of corpus callosum. So this is anterior horn. And lateral wall you have head of caudate nucleus. This is the head of caudate nucleus. Now we come to the posterior horn. This is the diagram. So with Chorsia diagram, you can make the diagram and you can explain. Posterior horn is the extension of cavity posteriorly into occipital lobe. It extends from splenium of corpus callosum. It extends from splenium of corpus callosum to the occipital lobe. It has roof and lateral wall, floor and medial wall. So boundaries are roof and lateral wall. See, if you see, this is the roof and lateral wall, this one. Roof and lateral wall, floor and medial wall. The roof and lateral wall, they are formed by the tapetum. Tapetum are the fiber from the corpus callosum and splenium part of corpus callosum. So tapetum is a white matter. These are the fiber of corpus callosum, which part the splenium. So the roof is formed by the tapetum, the fiber. The medial wall, you have bulb of posterior horn. In the medial wall, we have bulb of the posterior horn and we have calcar avis. The bulb of posterior horn is rounded structure elevation that is produced by foramen major. Foramen major are the fiber, white matter. Foramen major is a white matter. Then calcar avis, if you remember in medial surface, I have shown you Y-shaped sulcus, that is calcarine sulcus. So the Y-shaped calcarine sulcus produced an elevation in the floor, medial wall and floor of your posterior horn, that is known as calcar avis. So this is the calcar avis. So this is the posterior horn. Now come to the inferior horn. This is the inferior horn. The inferior horn lies in the temporal lobe. It is the meeting point of central part and the posterior horn. It is the largest and longest part. It has got the roof and floor. In this floor and roof, we have the same fiber of the white matter tapetum, but in floor there is hippocampus. So if you see here also, this is the lateral part, roof is formed by the tapetum. Tapetum are the fiber, it is a white matter. Then medial part is formed by the tail of caudate nucleus. This is the tail of caudate nucleus and stria terminalis. They form the roof. In the floor, we have got choroid plexus. Those are the tuft or bunches of the capillaries. We have hippocampus. This is the hippocampus. And this one is the collateral eminence. Collateral sulcus or collateral eminence is there. So this is the cavity part of lateral ventricle that is known as inferior horn. This is floor and this is roof. So by one lecture you can't understand, only diagram you have to draw, and with the diagram you can explain this is roof and lateral wall, this is floor and medial wall. Very simple. So this structure you can explain. So hippocampus is the area in temporal lobe. Why do we call it hippocampus? Because if you see the anterior part of hippocampus, that is known as pes hippocampus, it looks like the paw of hippocampus. That's why the name is given hippocampus. Basically, hippocampus contain the neuron which are responsible for recent memory. Your recent memory is there within the hippocampus. As per its look is like the pes hippocampus or a paw of hippocampus, we call it hippocampus. So that's about the inferior horn. Now choroid plexus, the choroid plexus are responsible for the production of CSF. Basically, they are the bunch of capillaries. They are the tila cordia with ependyma. The capillaries are there and ependyma is there. They produce the CSF. And choroid plexus are present in the lateral ventricle, third ventricle and fourth ventricle. That's about the choroid plexus. Now here in this diagram you see CSF, which is mainly produced in the lateral ventricle and partially in the fourth ventricle. So the lateral ventricle, it enter into the third ventricle through foramen of Monro. From third ventricle it goes to the fourth ventricle through cerebral aqueduct. And yesterday I told you from fourth ventricle through one foramen of Magendie middle foramen and two lateral foramen of Lashka, it enter into the subarachnoid space. That is how the CSF is circulated. Now finally we come to the applied anatomy of this ventricle. The ventricular system of the brain can be seen by CT scan, by MRI, by ventriculography, that's a technique, air encephalography or pneumoencephalography. So we can see by CT scan, we can see by PET scan, we can see by ventriculography. So see this is the normal and this is the abnormal bigger. These two are this is a CT scan of a section, okay, cross section of brain. So in a cross section of brain, you can make out these two lateral ventricle. As there is any blockage on the right side, so right side lateral ventricle is enlarged and left side it is normal size. You see, then hydrocephalus, you can call it hydrocephalus and cephalus, both are right. The hydrocephalus increase in the size due to blockage of the flow of CSF. The ventricle size become bigger, the brain size become bigger, and baby is having the large head, we call it hydrocephalus. Now, due to obstruction, why do we have hydrocephalus in the children? Because of obstruction in the flow. At the foramen of Monro, there can be obstruction. At cerebral aqueduct, there can be obstruction. And foramen of Monro and Magendie and Lashka, there can be obstruction. Now, treatment, if there is obstruction in the flow, then there is ventriculoperitoneal shunt. Through this neck muscles and all, a tube is inserted into the ventricle, and the other part of the tube is kept through the body into the peritoneum, so that excessive CSF will go to the peritoneal cavity. This is known as the VP shunt. Then ventriculostomy, a hole can be made in the skull, and through the ventricle it can be taken out. So when there is obstruction in the flow of CSF, it can cause increased intracranial pressure. See the hydrocephalus, ventricle size are bigger in CT scan. See, this is ventriculostomy. You can make out there is one instrument, and through the skull and brain a hole can be made and excessive CSF can be drained out. This is endoscopy, third ventriculostomy. You can make out this instrument. This is the enlarged view.